All right. Well, hello. Welcome. My name is Stephanie Herman. I am the membership coordinator and content specialist for the International Wildlife Rehab Council. And this is Coffee and Tea with IWRC. For those of you who are newer and might not know, IWRC stands for the International Wildlife Rehabilitation Council. We're a nonprofit that supports wildlife rehabbers and related professionals through science-based education, networking, publications, standards, things like that. We hold coffee and teas, which is what you're at right now, these monthly seminars for free to support ongoing learning and connection. I do have a few ground rules for you, but not too many. The first is that we do ask that you stay muted at the end, or if we ask for questions, there'll be an opportunity to raise your hand and unmute if you'd like to ask those questions. But in the meantime, just to keep everything so that people can hear and it doesn't, we get feedback a lot when we have a lot of people unmuted. So just stay muted if you can and make sure to ask your questions or put comments in the chat. Please do use the chat. This is a big community. We want to hear from you, and we really want any resources that you have to share as well. So if you want to put things in the chat, please do. We love seeing that. The recording of this session will go out to everybody. You'll be able to watch it if you're a member. There'll be an excerpt if you're not a member, where you can see like the first part of this meeting. And if you're not a member and you want to watch the recording, real easy solution, feel free to become a member. And we'll send information about all of that when the post goes up. It'll be later this week. You'll get an email if you registered for this course. So if you're here, you'll get an email telling you how to access that, and also how to, get a membership if you want to. Before I introduce our panel this month, I have two quick announcements. The first is that we are raising funds for a translation project. We are about 2/3 of the way through translating our comprehensive guide to wildlife rehabilitation into Spanish, and we need help getting that over the finish line. It costs about $270 to translate per chapter. And I've had some questions about why we don't just use ChatGPT. It's just not accurate enough, especially with some of the really technical concepts that we all have to address here in wildlife rehab. So we do need a person to review things like that and make sure that the actual translation is accurate to the primary text. So if you're interested in contributing to that, it is going to be Spanish Language Day on Thursday, I believe. So we do have a link for that, as well as our next coffee and tea, which is going to be on assessing the future of ambassador animal programs. So you're getting a little sneak peek now. We will announce this later for May, but this is where we are, or this is the topic we're going to be addressing next month. So we'd love to have you there. And with that, it's time for this month. So we are here to talk about Wildlife Hotlines, and we have four, I can't count, excellent panelists here to chat with us about their work in Wildlife Hotline response, and how they do their jobs, how they got into it, all of that, and just have a good discussion with you guys. Our moderator, Hilary Devries, Jana Stefanova, Oscar Formoso, and Barb Kahler. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to hand it off.
Awesome. Well, my name is Hilary Devries, and I'm going to be moderating today, posing some questions and topics that I think are going to help you all in maybe thinking about your processes, maybe stir up some new ideas, or maybe just get some great feedback from you all or ideas yourselves from what we talk about. I have been doing wildlife rehabilitation for about 10 to 11 years, and I've been in positions such as a clinic manager. I've been a volunteer. I've been just a wildlife rehabilitator technician. And in all of my roles in the past 10 years, it's always fielding phone calls and working with the public has been, a constant. It's something that you really can't get away from. So I'm excited to talk about this, and I guess I'll pass it on to Barb to introduce herself.
Hey, this is Barb. I'm from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm with the Wildlife Rescue Coalition, and I've been answering phones for the coalition for the last 6 years. And it's definitely been interesting to see all the different personalities and how they react to having found wildlife and their approach to saving it.
Awesome. Oscar, do you want to go?
Yeah, so my name's Oscar. I work at Wildlife Victoria, which is based in Melbourne in Australia. And we're operating a 24/7 emergency response service where members of the public can call in to report native animals that are found across the state. I've been working there for about 9 years, started with taking calls, and I'm now managing the emergency response service and the hotline that's taking calls from the public.
Awesome. And Jana, are you able to
Yes.
pitch in? Did you hop? Great. Just making sure.
Yes, I'm back. Hi, this is Jana. I'm based in Ireland, and I'm one of the founding members of Kildare Wildlife Rescue, which is a wildlife rescue and rehabilitation centre based in a town called Kildare, established in 2022. And we grew significantly from over the last couple of years, and currently in terms of capacity and number of species we can admit, we are currently the largest wildlife rescue in Ireland, starting from quite a small group. Very excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for introducing yourselves. I guess let's just start off with maybe how everybody's hotline program is structured. I am currently in a companion animal exotic emergency hospital where I field questions and calls from people about their pets. And so I personally probably get around 100 calls a day that I'm fielding. But all of my experience has been with wildlife previous to this. So I will say with, my current structure, it is very technology based, where we are logging communication logs in our program. But I've also worked with programs where there's one person handling all the calls, and we also have had like volunteers handling calls, as well as staff members who are working during the shifts handling calls. And I've worked at a couple places where the timing has been different, so sometimes it would be open calls from like 6 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock at night. In some places I've worked, it's been like 8 o'clock in the morning up until 4 o'clock. It just really depends on what the staff, how the staff is able to handle it, and what season it is. But Barb, if you want to answer that a little bit.
Awesome. So we're all volunteers, and we do work into our shifts. Right now there's 15 of us. Some of us answer the phones for 1 2 hour shift, and some of us answer the phones for 7 days a week. We have our little 8 to 10 or 10 to 12. I do 5. I do Monday through Friday, 10 to 12. And so we call up. We have a hotline where everybody calls. We call up the hotline. We call up the messages, and we return them. And then we have a foster group chat where all the needy animals are being posted. If somebody calls and says, I found a squirrel, we will then we will call and get additional information if need be. We try to get a picture of the animal, because sometimes animals are not what they think it is. So we always want to get a picture, general location, and we will post it on our foster page, and hopefully we have fosters to swiftly take the little baby into care. And like I said, 7 days a week from 8 to 8. And there are many of us. I don't think there's some of us that do like 2 shifts back to back, and like Hilary said, I mean, it really depends on the time of year. Sometimes it's just really, really, really busy, and sometimes you can go 3 days without a call. So,
Yeah. And yeah, Oscar or Jana, if you want to pitch in, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, ours has sort of changed in the time that I've been there over the last decade or so. When I started, the average daily call volume was maybe a couple hundred calls a day. Today, and it's winter here, so it's our quiet season, we're getting about 500 calls a day, and then spring is our peak, and we'll get up to 1,000 calls a day. So we're now 24/7. So we have 2 staff members on overnight, which is the quiet period where we might only be getting 1 or 2 calls an hour. And then during the day, we have up to 10, 15, 20 phone operators on where we're getting 100 calls an hour, which will be peak spring in October when all of our marsupials are having their joeys and the baby birds are fledging. That's our peak season. So we get a lot of seasonal variation from the middle of winter to peak spring. So that's a challenge planning for that sudden uplift that we get within a few months.
Jana?
Yeah, so we're not as busy as Oscar there. I'm mind blown by the numbers. That's incredible. Well done, guys. We've had 30,000 reports last year in total, and obviously summer would be the busiest period. In terms of number of people on at one time, ideally, we need at least 2. We just don't have that at the moment, so we're trying to help out. But at the moment, it is mainly volunteers, and it is mainly 1 person on shift. We have our times are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day, and it is mainly volunteers. At the moment, we have temporary on a fixed-term contract. 3 volunteers doing extra part-time work, so extra hours for part-time, because it's just otherwise we can't cope with that, unfortunately, especially now because the busy season is starting for us just now. We actually had to do an emergency fundraiser that is running now to support our help desk. This is what we call our hotline to get people in. But yes, it is mainly volunteers. We have currently 13 people on our team, out of which 10 are taking shifts. Regular shifts weekly, which could be just 1 5-hour shift or several, depending on their availability. And then we have 3 extra people to help. So one of them would be in an advisory capacity, who would be a very experienced rehabilitator who might provide second opinion for certain cases or help with extra calls that might be a bit tricky. Then we have a volunteer that specifically deals with update requests from people. So updating anonymous brought to us, that's a role for a volunteer that's separate, so it doesn't clog our workload. And then we have a person specifically dedicated to deal with cases of mobile foxes, because they're the most commonly reported mammal to us, and we get loads of reports of foxes either with mange or with like injuries that are still very much mobile. It's not a case that somebody can just go and get it. It's a kind of handling the caller over a period of several days or sometimes weeks, working on, is there a way of developing a feeding routine? Is there a way to treat on site? Is there a way of setting up a trap? So we have a volunteer dealing specifically with those, because we get loads of them and they need a lot of management.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like everybody's kind of got their own, time frame that you're answering calls. And yeah, I think seasonality really plays a part in that. For us in North America, it really slows down in the wintertime because there's a lot of migratory species that leave. And, after the babies are all gone, they hopefully are migrating with their families or following the group. I am wondering if anybody wants to pitch in on any sort of tips or tricks for dealing with after-hour calls. So, like, say you get there in the morning, you're coming back in and you have like 30 messages. Do you ever consider maybe getting volunteers for after-hour calls, or are you very strict on the timeline that you have your phones open?
I'm happy to answer. So our system might be a little bit different because our primary contact is through our email. So everybody gets a phone call, or everybody that has an injured or sick or animal in need of help, they will get a phone call as soon as possible based on urgency. But the primary contact is through email, that they will email us with their location and with their phone number. That way we can sort by urgency, and also we don't miss any report. It's all there waiting for us, and we can decide what's the most urgent. That way also. And we also have set up an auto reply, especially for the busy times, that when somebody contacts us, it automatically prompts them to send us check that the phone number is correct, that they included a video if possible, location, and it gives them very basic advice for what to do in the meantime in case we can't go right away. And that auto reply then also says for out of hours. So if they, let's say, emailed at 1 a.m. and nobody's actually monitoring the reports coming in, the auto reply also states kind of, if it's like a small animal that is safe for them to contain, this is how you do it. And this would be, if it's very injured, this would be the list of emergency vets open in the area. So by the time the volunteer comes on in the morning, if there is anything that was missed overnight, which is not that common, to be honest, they can then follow up with the person just to make sure that they got sorted, or if they still have the animal, but it's going to be there waiting for them. It's not going to be missed. And our times are specified in that auto reply as well. So they know, oh, I emailed at 1, so therefore I see the advice and I know I won't get called till morning.
Oh, yeah, I love that email idea because you have it like in print where, it's easy for them to refer back to.
Yeah, it helps us prioritize a lot. It's the one thing that helps us the most to deal with the volume we're dealing with, that we can see all the reports coming in and can call everybody, all the most urgent ones immediately, all the ones that are contained safely in a shed. They can wait a few minutes before we get to them, and we can really make sure that no report is missed in voice notes or voicemails or anything like that.
Right.
And that's Oscar and Barb, I don't know, with your amount of animals that you get in, do you have any thoughts on that?
So
Yeah,
we don't.
You
Go
go,
ahead.
Bob.
We don't get many overnight, and somehow they seem to find us. I mean, there's always a former volunteer just called last night at 11:30, and she said, "Hey, there's a lady who found an opossum. Can you help her?" So even though the hotline isn't open and staffed, there's always somebody out there who finds somebody that works for us to get the message through. We do have email available, and we are nowhere near close where Oscar is with his numbers. So and they usually know that it's 8 to 8, and sometimes they hold off with a call until morning. So we're good. Go ahead, Oscar.
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, ours has changed a little bit. So when I started on the phones, we would start in the morning at 6:35 a.m. and finish at 9 p.m. at night. But in Australia, we have so many crepuscular and nocturnal species that are really active when it's dark or at dawn, and at dusk. That's when our kangaroos are most active and hopping around. So it was really important for us to be able to be available to help those animals when they're needing help at the moment. So we transitioned to being a 24/7 service maybe 5 or 6 years ago, so we can continue to provide advice and help in those periods, and then overnight where we are still getting calls, not as many as during the day, but there is a significant number of calls coming overnight. So yeah, it's been a transition, but it's been really helpful to have someone there no matter what day of the year it is and no matter what time of the day.